Hi guys, it's David here from Writing Resources, and today we're going to be taking a look at creative writing, improving your vocabulary. Now specifically we're going to be looking at using synonyms to improve our writing. This is a really important part of the writing process, so it's really important that you think carefully about the vocabulary that you use as you craft your response. Below are the main areas you'll be assessed on in the creative writing section. So we have AO5, content and organisation. So what kind of techniques have you used and how has your writing been structured? So the typical example that we use are things like going massive techniques. If you're still not sure what they are, please take a look at some of our other videos that go into these in a bit more details. AO6, so this is technical accuracy. This covers the things like your spelling, your grammar and your punctuation. So this lesson specifically is going to focus on the AO5 and zooming in really on using varied vocabulary. So a good way to access the AO5 part of the assessment, the big 24 marks that you get for just the AO5 part in the exam. Varied vocabulary. How do we include this in our writing? So a good way to use a varied vocabulary is by understanding synonyms. So these are a word or phrase that have a very similar meaning to another word in the same language. So rather than using words like small, tiny or little, we're going to try and think about synonyms that might be used to get us more marks in the exam. So if you would like to pause the video now, you could come up with some of the synonyms for the examples above. So rather than using those fairly simple words, think about any kind of synonyms that might be used for small, tiny or little. If you have access to a thesaurus, this will be a really good thing to use to look them up. Alternatively, you can always look them up on Google as well. Look at the examples below and think about the synonyms to replace the underlined words. My dinner last night was really bad. The last holiday I had was okay. The new shopping centre is good. So as you can see from those three examples, the key words there being bad, okay and good, these aren't really very impressive words. So we need to spend some time thinking about what other words could we use to replace these to have more appropriate synonyms. So again, if you'd like to pause the video here, if you'd like to spend some time thinking of them yourselves, you're more than welcome to do so. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you some of the ideas that I've come up with. So as you can see there, my first one, my dinner last night was vile. So bad for the first example isn't the very best word you could use in that situation, but vile is a very powerful word here that really tells us how disgusting the dinner was on the previous night. The last holiday I had was sensational. Again, very, very good word to use. If you're not sure what that means, please by all means spend some time now looking up some of those big words that you can use in your response. Number 3, the new shopping centre is awe-inspiring. Now this is a very good one to use, especially using one with a hyphen in between it will also get you a mark in terms of using a varied punctuation as well. So have a look at the exam question below. You'll normally get an option to do one or the other. So it's either describe a scary encounter as suggested by this image, or write about a time that you felt alone. Now, often in the exam we don't always get an image that is particularly helpful. I think this one's quite a good one to talk about, however. If you actually have a look at the image, it's quite atmospheric. We can tell it's at night. They've got that big light coming up from above, and you've already got a character there that is potentially going to be scared or even a victim to some kind of event that you could write about. It's entirely up to you which one you write about, but make sure you think about how you're going to structure it and think about the key language you're going to use in your actual writing as well. If we have a look at the first attempt at learning, I want you to think, how might this response be improved? So it says, suddenly the weather turned very cold. There was a windy wind in the air that sent a shiver through Holly as she made her way home. It was really scary as she cut through the park. Suddenly there was a loud noise above. Looking up, she saw something that made her feel really scared. Now, the student has actually made quite a good start here. They're starting to think about things like sensory language, which is absolutely fantastic. But you can see there with the words that are underlined that these aren't particularly intelligent adjectives that are used. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video if you can, have a look over the response and think, how would you change it? How could we possibly improve this to get more marks in the exam. I'm now going to move on and look at the next slide, which will show us the second attempts at learning. So after we've thought about how to improve this response and the kind of synonyms that are going to get us more marks in the exam. Now let's look at the second attempts in learning. The words or sentences that have been coloured in green are where the candidate has made some improvements to their writing. So it says, suddenly the weather turned bitterly cold. There was a ferocious wind in the air that sent a shiver through Holly as she made her way home. Cutting through the park, Holly fought the unease growing within her. Suddenly there was a deafening screech above. Looking up, she saw something that made all of her strength abandon her body. Now this is a response that still has some areas to improve, but we can see there, for the parts that are in green, that already it's starting to sound much more atmospheric and will get you more marks in the exam. So I want you to have a look at this, think back to the one that you just read and think, is this something you can produce, or would it be more like the first attempt at learning? Creative writing takes a long time to develop and to improve, so if you are still struggling with this one, just keep trying and keep attempting and keep thinking about how you can change those keywords for maybe better synonyms that can make it more effective. If you do need any extra support or help, then new videos will be added each week. Alternatively, leave us a comment. If there's anything particular that you want to focus on, let us know and I'll try and make a video for you as soon as I can. Alternatively, if you can't find a video that you need, check out our partner channel there, Bookworm Teaching, for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Best of luck, guys. Thank you.